Hello and welcome to this episode of Not Just Ghost Stories. I'm your host Josh, joined by Jackie and Laura. Today we are going to talk about one of my top 10 favorite places is Old South Pittsburg Hospital. I don't know the exact city, but it's in Tennessee at the southern border.
South Pittsburg.
South Pittsburg. There we go. So Jackie, you have a little bit of history on Old South Pittsburg for us, right?
I do. South Pittsburg Municipal Hospital was founded by 4 medical professionals in 1959. Means I'm older than that hospital. It consists of 68,000 square feet and was built to serve the needs of the growing community. It was constructed using limestone blocks and bricks. And it was built over a natural spring on lands that the Indians used. In 1778, I'm probably going to mispronounce this, but the Chiaha tribe used the land. During the Civil War, they allowed Union soldiers to store supplies on the land. The Confederate Army infiltrated the area, and many soldiers and Chiaha tribesmen were killed. Prior to the hospital being built, a large southern plantation sat upon the land. In 1920, the house was destroyed by fire, and 7 children were said to have died. When a new hospital was built in a nearby city, Old South Pittsburg Hospital could not afford to remain open. In 1998, it closed its doors. Today, the hospital is owned by Ronnie D., who founded the Old South Pittsburg Paranormal Research Center. While the hospital was still functioning, many of its employees had paranormal experiences within its walls.
All right, thank you. Now, like I said, this was one of my top 10 favorites of the ones we've done to this point. I was excited about it going into it, and I was excited about it after we left. I still am excited about it. One of those reasons are, that it just recently, and when I say recently, probably within, we're looking at the past 30 years, it closed down. There's still people that went to that hospital, worked at that hospital, or were in that hospital that had experiences that you can still contact to this day, which is awesome for me. So, what's kind of one thing that sticks out about Old South Pittsburg to you guys?
It's big. Now, for me, it's kind of in a weird setting, even when you first get there.
It's like it's in the residential area.
Exactly, like literally across the street is subdivision. But yeah, I don't think the vibes that I got from it, most of them, I don't even know if they would have been attached to the hospital.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to say. There was some stuff we really couldn't identify, but it was, and I don't want to say evil, but it could be unpleasant.
Yeah. Well, I know that there were stories about a former caretaker that had lived at that hospital. He just took care of the building. I think it was right after they shut down that he was taking care of everything. I can't for the life of me remember his name.
Yeah, me neither.
But he did have like an apartment set up to the side of that hospital. He even put in his own recording studio and everything else because he was a huge lover of music. And it was one place that we did investigate in the hospital a little bit and just never really, I think we went back there like 2 or 3 different times hoping to get something because a lot of people have heard things, from him, had things happen in that, his area and stuff. We never really got anything that I know of. Jackie, your evidence?
Never got anything.
Yeah. And when I say we, this is one of the ones that I think Dan, talked about it in his video. If you watch a couple prior, him and Tina were both with us. And so was,
And Tech Jeff was there.
and Tech Jeff, he was, with us too. So it was, the bunch of us getting together and actually doing this, which was fun. Jackie, I know one thing that you keep talking about that sticks out to you is you went into the chapel of that.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of reiterate this because we talked about it a little bit on the one with Dan.
Yeah. It's a real small room, kind of off the main like waiting room and things. And somebody had set up a table there, and they'd put a cloth on it, and there was a Bible, and so they set up an altar. But it was one of those altars that I think it had been corrupted. So, and every once in a while, I can't do it all the time, but I can pick up things by touching things. And you'd think I'd learn not to touch things, but that hasn't kicked in yet. So when I touched it, it was like, yeah, it was very nasty. Laura and I were in there, and I think you were doing the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah, just speaking it, and it was like, oh,
and the
I
stuff,
think somebody liked that.
And the stuff I was getting. So I went out and I got Dan because he's more into religion and stuff, and I had him read passages of the Bible. And I had to stop him. He was like on his fifth passage. And I finally reached out. I said, Dan, you need to stop because you're going to get hurt. Because you could kind of feel whatever was in there.
Like the room was even getting like stuffy and just.
Yeah, we were pissing it off and stuff. So we did stop and we left. Yeah.
I mean, and I was in another part of the hospital during that time. I mean, I was close to you guys, but I was over like where the nurses station and everything was, just kind of checking out rooms and stuff. So I wasn't able to be there for that, but it sounds like a really cool experience there. Another one that sticks out to me, I think, Lord, you and I have talked about this one, is when we went into the kitchen down on the first floor, and you started to kind of get some feelings from the kitchen itself, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's almost in a residual way at first because, it's just movement. But I'm sure they walked that same trek many times. But there's definitely an intelligence down there as well. I can't remember what sort of session we did there.
It was the sensory depth session where I had on the blindfold and the earphones.
Yeah.
And you had actually told me, hey, get this out. I bet you would get something. I think we had. I
am obsessed with having him do that.
And I think we had like a proximity sensor out or something too. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I don't think we got any hits. But I do remember listening to the session. When I do sensory depth, and I'm just going to kind of preface this, I don't remember a whole lot of it after I'm done because it's a lot of static that you're listening to. I kind of get into almost this trance-like state, but I'm not in a trance. I'm not saying I'm in there, but I'm just saying it's different overall. But I went back and listened to the recording that we had going during that time, and you guys were talking with what we figured out to be probably a chef because it was in the kitchen during that time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if y'all remember it or not.
Yep.
Oh, where the little boy.
The little boy ended up coming in, and the chef got very angry.
We had the chef because I remember the white coat. He had on a white coat.
Yeah. And I mean, he was like talking through the sensory depth, giving you guys really good answers, and it's just me repeating, what I'm hearing.
I think Mike.
I can't remember 100%.
But we should also preface it. Sensory depth means he cannot see. He's listening to the SB7. He cannot hear the questions that the rest of us are asking. So when he hears what he thinks is an answer, he just has to say it out. He has no idea whether it's correct or anything.
Yeah, as the words come, I'm saying them out loud. They can't come fast. Now, I have had times during these sessions where I have to like shout out, you guys are going too fast. There's too many of you talking one at a time. Because like, if they can figure out how to do it, and when I say they, I mean spirits, if they can figure out how to do it, then they all want to do it, and all of them want to talk, but I can't. It's like a bunch of gibberish during that time because I can hear multiple voices, but I can't hear what they're saying. But this was one where it was coming through just one single voice there for a little bit. And like I said, I think it was the chef that you guys were talking to. I, again, don't remember it. I just heard it on the recording. And it was a good session until we had a child come in that should not be there. And during the recording, you can hear my voice even change because the chef is basically yelling, he shouldn't be here. He's not allowed to be here. But then that boy was coming through and answering questions too, right?
He just wanted attention, I believe. Like, oh, hey, those people can hear us.
But it is kind of weird. You're sitting in a darkened room. You're only hearing half the. Well, we know the questions we're hearing, but we're getting Josh's answers, but there's a little lag. And then all of a sudden, there's the one spirit yelling at the other spirit. And you're just sitting there going, what the hell?
Because we didn't know what's going on overall. I can just remember just be going, what is going, I don't know. And then you could actually hear me saying it in the recording because I was saying out loud, I have no idea what's happening right now.
Yeah, he'll think this is a different voice.
So, but I do remember, Laura, you had told the little boy, hey, like, come on, let's go, and took him out of the room.
I think I asked him to just like hang out with us wherever we went. Yeah.
So to me, that was a fun little session that we had in there. I don't think we had anything else really hit. I didn't have any EVPs on any of our recorders at that time. I don't know if you did or not on your stuff.
Nothing that I would consider like a Class A. Some stuff, but you hate to put it out there as evidence because you're not really sure.
Gotcha.
And those little noises, it's even harder to decipher when you're with a bigger group.
Yeah.
All right. So then there was another part that sticks out in my mind, and that's when we were on the second floor. It was a patient's ward. There was a lot of patients' rooms. There was a nurse's station. Laura, do you want to explain about getting in the wheelchair and yelling?
I think I was half out of my mind. It was very hot there. It was very hot. They had fans going, so that already throws you off. But I don't know what possessed me to just decide to be a patient.
Well,
if there was a wheelchair available.
On top of that, you decided you were going to be an elderly patient that was extremely rude.
Yes.
Yeah, and that had to use the bathroom. And we weren't going to let her use the bathroom because she just went.
Yeah, and Jackie, you decided
Jackie was my nurse, and she's... There's a reason that she's not in that field.
Look, I only threatened to beat you. I did not actually beat you.
That's true.
And during that time, I did get, again, fans were going. You could hear voices. You couldn't hear what they were saying on recordings. And that's kind of the one bad thing. Anytime we were in an area, I tried to turn off the fans, but it would get extremely hot. This was in July that we were doing this. And
we were at the front nurse's station where the PA system is, and it almost felt like it was coming over the PA system.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was getting to that, because some of the stuff I was hearing, it almost had like an echo-ish type to it.
Yeah.
But I had turned off some of the fans, and I got some stuff, but it just wasn't coming through clear enough on that floor while all of that was happening for me to classify it as something, crazy. It could also be mixed in with some type of background noise or something that was going on.
But there's definitely shadows like that go in that nurse's station, and you'll see them walk down a hallway. There's definitely those. I do feel that's more residual. I don't know that it can necessarily respond to you or have any inkling that we're even there, but
the elevator was also right there just after the nurse's station, and I saw a couple shadows either coming out of it and it's non-operating or going into it.
Yeah.
So the door never opened, the elevator didn't ding or anything like that, but you could just see the shadows walking through the door or coming through the door.
Yeah. Now, we did do another sensory depth session it was like a surgical room in the back there, and it was every single one of us was inside of that surgical room. That's one thing I remember when we were setting up. It was all of us inside this room doing this sensory depth. I was under the sensory depth. The one thing I remember about it, I don't remember what answers and who we were talking to. I know that we were talking to something.
Yes.
But the one thing I remember about it is freaking out. I started freaking out because I could feel something coming down on me, like it was coming out of the roof, out of the ceiling. and wanting to come down on me, and I couldn't do it anymore. I had to actually leave the room. I do remember leaving
Yeah,
the room
and I was
and having
watching
to
it.
relax.
It was huge. And for those of you saying, well, why didn't you tell him? He's sensory depth. I could scream at him all I want. He's not going to hear me.
No.
So, and I think we had gone in there and I had to leave the room, or I told all of us to leave the room. And
I
we
just
did go
remember
back
almost like having to run out of the room, go around the corner.
the second time, but we did go in the first time. And I think you want to do sensory depth. And I said, I can't stay in that room. It was making me sick. So we did come out. So the second time, that's why I sat there and watched it and didn't say a word. I thought, he's a big boy. He'll figure out if he has to leave or not.
Yeah.
I did keep telling you, though, he's okay. I'm watching him. He's okay.
I mean,
I don't trust her, though. I think she would sacrifice Josh in the for the sake of science.
I mean, there's been a few different times in sensory depth where I've started to be like, okay, I got to get out of this. Tuscarora Moon in the safe. I was doing sensory depth inside of the safe, and I think you were asking questions outside of the safe.
Yes.
And I went back and listened to the recordings that ended up disappearing.
Yep.
Which was another whole entire story. But the only thing I can remember out of it was freaking out because I felt like somebody was bearing down on top of me and almost had like their knuckles into my collarbones, just shoving me downwards. And I think in that one, I can't remember I don't think I stayed. I think I ended up coming out and being like, no, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
Well, you were safe because I was outside. We had the door shut. He couldn't hear me. I could kind of hear him and what he was saying. I opened the door and stood in the doorway. I don't know if I was there to help him in case he was under attack or just to record it. But either way, I was there. And yeah, you did.
And she doesn't trust me.
You ended up ripping off everything, going, I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, I've had plenty of sensory depth sessions where, I felt like things are, crazy, but I'm okay in that situation. I can kind of figure it out myself. But there's some of them, and this was one of them at Old South Pittsburg, where I remember getting very antsy going, I think I'm done. I think I need to get out of this because this isn't good for me.
Well, it was huge. It literally took up the whole ceiling.
Yeah. So that one was very interesting to me as far as in that, for one, it was in a surgical room, but two, I mean, I don't remember it being throughout the rest of the hospital, just kind of in that one area is what I remember it.
That's
right?
all we had him. It might have possibly also been the thing in the chapel. There were some similarities to it, but the strength, energy that we got in the operating room was a whole lot stronger than what was in the chapel. Yeah. So, and I don't know what it is. We're getting pretty good at understanding demons, spirits, and elementals, but that was one of those ones I couldn't really tell what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant earlier with the main thing being a shadow that big. I don't think it had anything to do with the hospital. I mean, I think it's just that the hospital is what is currently there for it to be in. And I'm sure people there ghost hunting attracts it. But I think it was probably there much longer than the hospital has been.
Well, as we discovered in the history, there was a plantation, there was a fire, and 7 children died. And it was also Indian ground. So, and the Civil War did rage through there. So there's probably a lot of tragedy, on the land.
That's for sure.
And when you go down, Old South Pittsburg town is a really cute town, and it's pretty old, and it's got some history, and it also has a very good restaurant, and they do, you can get a little bit of everything there, but their Italian meals are pretty good and stuff. After we get done there, because every time I go to Old South Pittsburg, I forget to factor in the time change, so we're always there an hour early.
Yeah.
So we started wandering just through the stores and stuff. And Matt, I think you were with me. Yeah. Laura and I are just wandering through the stores, and you can just feel as you go in the back of the store there is something there. It's like halfway up the steps. I believe it doesn't want you up the steps. It didn't quite come down the steps.
Well, it was almost like an old thrift style store. I mean, you
Yeah.
can
It
kind of
had
go
like
through.
a little
It had
bit of
these,
everything.
Yeah.
yeah, they had just everything, and then all of a sudden there was a back room that you can kind of cross into, and it had more of everything back there. And I can remember both of you going, "Ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those. There was a line. It's like, oh, this is cute. Wait a minute, what's back here and stuff.
Yeah, and we walked back and forth. Like, what is that?
yeah."
And then, of course, since I'm a ghost hunter and not smart enough to be ashamed of it, I went and I asked the people, "Is this place haunted?" And I love asking people that because if you watch their faces, you can tell that they would go, "Hell yes," but they don't want to scare the customers away, and so you just get that, "Yeah, well, we're not sure. We think maybe some things." And as you talk to them more, they'll draw out more and more that, and you'll figure out that yeah, it is haunted.
Well, and a lot of times I love asking people, "Is this place haunted?" And they don't really want to come out and tell you because, for one, they don't want you to think that they're nuts. That's they, they're like, "Oh, people who thinks things are haunted, or I'm crazy," At the same time, when I say, because I'm a ghost hunter and I really feel like there's something here, and then at that time they will actually end up coming up and starting to tell you some stuff. So like that one there, they probably started and then they continued, and then I think they finally realized, because you kept asking questions about things, I think they finally realized, hold on, she's actually interested in this, and maybe we can actually talk to her.
At that point, we just kind of started touching almost. It's like, well, it could be anything in here.
Well, and that's one of the things that I thought of when I was walking through there. I'm like, all of this stuff is secondhand, third hand, fourth hand. It
And
could
some
be
of it is
anything.
old.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff they had in there was.
There was some antique stuff in there.
And there was an upstairs, and that wasn't part of the store. You couldn't go up there. And I forgot what the lady told me was up there, but the spirit that I was tracking, I got the impression he was something in the upstairs. He was guarding the upstairs, or he wouldn't come all the way down the stairs, and you could tell from the energy that there was a certain point, if he came down the stairs, he wouldn't cross. So I got the impression that it was something upstairs that he was guarding or whatever.
Yeah. All right. Well, Old South Pittsburg. I mean, I would definitely recommend it, even to an unseasoned person. I think it could be really interesting. Watch your step. Watch what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I think it could still be a really fun, interesting ghost hunt for anybody. That whether you're starting or whether you've been doing it for, 40 years. What do you guys think?
Oh, it's definitely haunted. It's a good one to go to. Just maybe don't go when it's so hot. You have to need fans. But I don't see anything, and didn't feel anything there that you would need to be concerned about. Other than the thing that we can't identify, and that's just because, well, it didn't necessarily feel like it was super malicious. When you don't know what it is, you don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
There was that one, and then there was that one apothecary room that we were in, and I had you get out because you were weird.
Yeah. It's almost like it was trying to jump me or something. I don't know. I do remember.
Yeah, because you were acting really weird.
Yeah.
And then you might have yelled at me too.
Maybe.
But that's kind of our
We do that sometimes.
standard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know what? I just now remember that was the older part of the hospital. That was the original part.
Where the raccoons were. He did tell us there's raccoons back there.
Mm-hmm.
So
there wasn't a whole lot going on over there except for there.
Yeah.
So that was another kind of crazy part to it too. So it took me a second to actually bring that one back up.
Yeah, I forgot about it till you were saying that it's good, and you can go there. It's not, you're not going to get, well, you may get possessed by a demon, I don't know, but it's not really bad. You just go there with your protection, with other people, and just be aware, and you can experience quite a lot, some good, some bad.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I agree. I think, I'd feel safe, taking anybody who's just interested, and learning how to ghost hunt or learning what exactly it's about to go and see what they think about it, because it's something I think even fresh eyes could really see something there.
That's also, we're dealing with two different perspectives. This was my second time at Old South Pittsburg. We got in right when they had just kind of opened up. They were also having, and we didn't know that, but I guess they had caretaker problems and stuff. But it was me, Tina, and Tech Jeff. And all three of us are very good about, or bad, depending on how you want to see it, wandering off on our own and stuff, but not there. Matter of fact, I sat both of them down and said, I don't know how you guys feel, but don't leave me alone in this hospital. And at one point, Tina was going to go out. The caretakers were going outside. So I made sure that she caught up with them, and I turned around, and Tech Jeff is gone. And now I'm alone in this hospital. And there was this one very haunted radiation room, very haunted. And as a ghost hunter, I should have been, this is very interesting. I ran through it. I didn't care if the ghost lined up and wanted to cheer me on. No way in hell was I staying there by myself till I got up to Tech Jeff. So you're getting my perspective from that first time that we went there, that a door closed almost on Tina and me. Plus the second time we went there where things were a bit more calm.
They were a bit more calm. It's a couple areas that you just got to kind of watch out for, but that's also, even to an untrained ghost hunter, always be careful. You know, it's always just one of those things, just kind of always watch your back, always think about, you know, what are you dealing with, think through it, and then go at it. You know, is kind of that's how I've always approached things. You got to kind of think through this, like, what are we dealing with? Let me get a little bit more information. Okay, I need to either back away or I think I'm all right, you know, type of thing. So that's kind of where you go with it, is the way I've always felt.
And then one more disclaimer, because I'm sitting here listening to what we're doing. You will often hear that it's Josh that does the sensory depth, and there is a reason for that.
Yes, there is.
Sensory depth is very good and very non-hurtful, except to 1% of the population. 1% of the population is like being on a bad LSD trip. I don't know what that is. I don't do LSD, but that's how I equate it. I'm in that 1%, so I am very careful about sensory depth.
Both of you are in this 1%.
I don't do it, though, because of being jumped while doing it.
Yeah, she's more afraid of, as a psychic, it's not good to let your guard down.
Well, we let her do it, and for one, she can't just talk.
Oh, and then she ends up yelling. Remember at Post Town, she was yelling at him, "Shut up!"
So she can't just talk, because when she's doing it, she's screaming the answers,
yeah.
And you're like, okay, and then. Two.
Well, it's really loud. What I hear is it's all this stuff.
Well,
and everybody in the building, no matter, we take her to Waverly. She's the one that has to do the sensory depth because everybody in that building can hear her.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter what floor you're on. But like Gaines, you know, all of a sudden her accent changed.
She gets jumped.
She gets jumped very easily that way. When you're in sensory depth, you're opening yourself up a little bit more, is the way that I like to think of it. You're coming in tune because of the static and everything else. So yeah, it makes you more apt to be jumped. And Laura, being a psychic on top of it, yeah, it's going to happen to her.
I often wonder, do we create and open a portal at that point in time? Because it's almost like you step into a portal. You're not quite in this world. You're not quite in the other world.
Well, that's something that we can talk about on another podcast.
Oh, we tried putting Laura through a portal, and now she's getting a little antsy about it. She don't want to go. So.
That's something we could talk about on another podcast, because portals are they hit home with us. We like to talk about them and or think about them. So until then, this has been Not Just Ghost Stories. I've been your host, Josh.
Laura.
And Jackie.
And until next time, you can contact us on Facebook at notjustghoststories.com. Comment on YouTube, or contact us at notjustghoststories@gmail.com. Thanks.